So this is my 2021 Kubota RTV 1100c, and I'm gonna try to make this a 500-mile review video. Everything I've done to it to make it better for me, and the things I like and don't like about it. So first off, when I got it, I watched some YouTube videos obviously before I bought it, and they said that the bottom holes, drain holes here for the door, tend to rust out, and I saw that that could easily happen because when you're driving through your typical muddy trail puddle, mud would splash all over the cab. A lot worse than it is right now. It's pretty dirty right now, and it could easily rust this out. So I did two things to help this. One is this mud flap here from an old conveyor belt. You can see the little flaps there that I cut and made it stick out a lot, which made it keep a lot nicer than it has, and it wraps around to the front there. And two, I bought 3 cans of undercoating spray, and you can't even tell, but I sprayed the whole from about here down. I sprayed that with undercoat, so this is all undercoat here, and you can't even tell the difference from the normal paint of the door. And I coated the whole bottom with undercoat. Everything now is metal has a layer of undercoat on it, so that is definitely going to help with this rust here, which hasn't started yet, luckily. And a couple of the features I got when I ordered it was these turn signals, the turn signal kit. It gives you those front lights and then replaces the whole brake light system in the back. And then in the cab, this is kind of cheap, this switch for it. And your 4-ways are right there. I don't know. That was a lot of money for what you got, but it is nice, I guess. And these are not street legal in Pennsylvania, but with the turn signals and everything, and the triangle on the back and the beacon on the top, I've had troopers follow me and they just keep going when I turn off, so I don't think you're gonna get bothered too much with this. I did put these lights in the back because the ones with Kubota, it only gave you this thing right here, and it's a halogen light, and I didn't like that at all. And I got the beacon on the top too. I put that up there. So from Kubota, if you got the rear work light and the beacon, it would have been 500 bucks. I got it all for $50, and I did it myself from Amazon. Windshield wiper's nice. You can be flying through the woods and hitting mud puddles, and your windshield just get covered, and you just flip that on, you can see right in 2 seconds, you can see again. The one thing with the halogen lights that is nice is with the radio inside, everything LED has such a large magnetic field that the radio is just fuzzy no matter what channel you're on, FM radio. So if you put LED lights on there, you just know that the radio will not work with the LED lights on. One thing that's nice about the Kubotas is that the battery is actually a battery. It's not some little AAA thing that they put in 4-wheelers. It's actually a car battery. So when you're jump starting old tractors and stuff, it's not going to die on you in 2 seconds. And when you have all your lights and you're running your winch for your plow or something, this battery's not going to die. So that's pretty much it for the outside. Oh, I did get this back rack too. This is my triangle. The back rack flips up so you can get these bolts in for whatever you want to put on this easily. And I put this chainsaw, I built this chainsaw rack. Just 2 pieces of tubing with a cow mat on it, and I cut the slots in the cow mat with the chainsaws for it. And you can wrap your chains around it and everything. So now if we go to the inside, you get your roll-up windows. I like that. I mean, this thing is a little, the handle is a little too small, because if you're going really fast rolling it down, your hand will fall off of it quick. But that's just a small complaint. Radio's awesome. Speakers are great. The speakers are up on top of the bed liner. Actually, there's a couple things I forgot to talk about in the back. I put rear mud flaps on, and the way I did these mud flaps, I put the rubber on the inside, which was more for the looks and the performance, because mud won't splash up on the tailgate now, but it will drip down the backs of these, which I'd rather have it look, the rubber look nice and it be clean. So it doesn't get all over this anymore, but it will just drip down there a little bit. I did not get the axle guards. I don't know, I don't really think I needed them. The stuff does really pack in there though. And those axles, they're thick in the middle, but on the edges, yeah, they're kind of thin. I don't know why they're so thin on a machine that weighs 1.5 tons, but they are. I made this hitch for it, and it's weird, the hitch for this is really thick, or like really big. It's more than 2 inches up and down, but left and right it's 2 inches, and this is 1 7/8" tubing that I welded on the extra 1/8 of an inch to make it fit that a lot tighter. This has gotten me unstuck a lot with my jack, because you get stuck and I don't have a winch for it yet. And I just put that chain around that railroad jack, hooked the other end of it to a tree with that tow rope, and jacked myself out of the mud. Only had to do that once. If I had a picture of that, I'd throw it in, but I don't think I do. Back rack for $200. It's really flimsy, but it will stop like hay bales and stuff, which I wouldn't put hay in the back of this, but brush, I guess. It doesn't scratch, it won't scratch the windshield or anything. Here's this one trailer I'm making for it. I needed this drop hitch to go upside down, and I built this drop hitch for it. Really thick tubing. Just some more chainsaw gas in there. They make a toolbox for this, but it's like $1,000, a Kubota toolbox. And I think 2 milk crates works just fine, and they're free. So I've hit jumps, like not jumps, but bumps, really big bumps, and this stuff doesn't fall out of here at all. The suspension on this, I give it credit for being a work machine. It is very smooth suspension. Under the hood here, if you're like me and you want to put train horns in this thing, they'll fit right here perfect. I've already got it all measured out. This is my whole winch jerry-rigged thing for the snow plow, which I'll show in a minute. This wire goes 8-gauge wire to the battery, these 4 wires to the switch, to the box, then these 2 wires with this nice plug on it. For any winch this could run if I put the plug on the winch. And then you could just tap into these 2 wires, run a wire to the back, and you could have a winch and a receiver for the back and the front then, because this has a front receiver, which I built this bumper for. Yeah. It is really, I noticed, like wiring wise, compared to like a Honda or Polaris or anything, it is really easy to run wires on this thing and make it look nice. Like if you knew how many wires are right here, it'd be scary. But you can literally run wires up both sides here behind these things. Your windshield wiper tube reservoir for the windshield wiper fluid goes up that side. All your big wiring harness for the radio and everything goes up that side. And it's so nice to run wires in this thing, and you can't even tell that there's wires anywhere. Even like for this radio, the speaker wire, tuck it right in all the way down, right to your phone. You can't even tell. So inside, this mat down here is really nice, but I don't know why it doesn't go all the way forwards, because all your dirt will pile in there, and then it will stay there. The paint for the pedals is very cheap paint. It wears off, like, the moment I got in, the pedal's already bare. One thing that's nice about these compared to a lot of machines nowadays, the 4-wheel drive is actually a lever with a linkage. It's not a button or a cable or something, and as soon as the lever's in, it's in 4-wheel drive. As soon as it's out at 4-wheel drive. Like instant. It's not trying to put it in reverse and backing up and going for it to get it in and out of 4-wheel drive. The shift lever, everybody's always complaining, oh, it's so hard to shift, it's so hard to shift, don't buy a Kubota, you can't get them in gear. This thing is the easiest thing to get into gear if you know how and when to stop. And yes, the brake, when you push it in, does relieve the pressure in the transmission to make it easier to shift. I like this so much more than anything that has the park in its gear too, because you can be in high, pull the parking brake, and just hop out quick. I mean, you probably shouldn't do that, but it's so much better than going through every gear just to get it in park so it doesn't roll away. The tilt steering wheel, it's nice if you just lean back, put your wrist on the top. That's how I like it. I put my winch switch right over here. I think that's where Kubota puts their winch switch too, if you get that. I didn't really want to pay $400 for a winch install. I paid, I think, $80 to get my whole winch set up with my plow. AC and heat, it's just like anything new. As soon as you turn the heat on, it could be negative degrees outside. Turn the heat on, 5 minutes, you'll be turning the heat off in here and rolling the windows down. It's that hot. We've only had a couple warm days where I used the AC, not yet. I do have to mention, I've had this machine for 2 weeks and I already have 80 hours on it. 80 hours and 500 miles. Every 200 hours you gotta service it. I never seen anybody how they service these yet, so I'll be figuring that out. Under seat storage, I thought it was going to be a lot bigger under seat storage than what it is. I just got the normal jumper cables and stuff, socket set, pliers, everything. This is one more reason to buy Milwaukee. Your Milwaukee 3/8 impact stubby fits perfect right in there. Doesn't go anywhere, won't vibrate, nothing. It's perfect for that. I think they designed that pocket for the Milwaukee 3/8 stubby impact. No doubt about it. One thing though, the cab is airtight. So when you close the door, it won't close all the way unless you push hard or you have the windows cracked. Which I just got used to how hard you have to push to get it to shut. So yeah, that's the whole Kubota. I'll show you the snowplow now. I wanted to mention one more thing. I got the HD worksite tires when I bought it, and I already have complaints with them. We were going through the road and I blew a sidewall out. I put 16 tire plugs in it to get home. It held air for 4 days. I had to pump it up again, held more air for 4 days, but I just got a whole new tire. $170 for one of these tires. So once these burn off, I'm gonna get DOT tires for it because I do not like the HD Worksite tires. The sidewalls are paper thin. Paper thin. This is my snowplow attachment that I made. So I got this just cheap Harbor Freight winch because all it's lifting is a little snowplow. So this piece came with the snowplow. This has to come up here to lift the snowplow up at the right angle, which you'll see. This angle iron I welded on there so it doesn't twist because this is just going in the receiver. That's the only thing that prevents it from twisting is this angle iron. So yeah, I'll just put it. So if you are like, oh, I'm going to put a snowplow on this and I'm going to have Kubota install my winch so I don't have to do that. Well, the problem with that is if Kubota installs your winch, it goes right on top of this bumper in these pre-drilled holes. When your winch is there and your hook for your snowplow is here, that is not enough of a angle to pull your plow up with. Therefore, you're going to constantly snap your cable or rope, whatever winch you get, which is why this winch is up here. And the benefit of this winch being up high, from the cab you can see if your cable's getting all twisted. Which this machine, I always wanted to do this. I don't really use the dump bed much. You could take the cylinder and the hoses from the dump bed, mount it to your own frame so you can have hydraulic lift for your plow then. But I don't feel like deassembling the whole bed tilt system yet. Probably not going to do that either. Probably just have an electric pump for it. So all you have to do to get this winch to work is just plug these wires together. Put them up there nice. And if you run wires through the hood for this, right here is the spot that they won't rub when you close the hood. Just like that. So let's hook the snowplow up now. Snowplow. You can kind of see if you want to build it how I designed it here. If you have a cable winch, this plate, definitely get one with that plate. Keeps the cable tight. Just a little quick tip. And for snowplows, one that the whole blade trips, not just the little cutting edge, is definitely better, like those Fisher snowplows. Just another quick shot of how this thing looks.